Hi, everyone. Time to start a new Wikipedia editing project. So let's go through the steps that I do. First off, what I've been doing is I've been working my way through this American archaeologist stubs category. And there are gazillions, is that a word? Gazillions of stubs on Wikipedia that need to be rewritten. And I personally prefer to rewrite stubs. They are like little lost lambs that have just been forgotten and abandoned, and it's just so sad. And I think we should get those together. And I learned so much too. So I've picked American archaeological stubs. I think I'm on this. This will be, I think, my seventh that I've picked off this list, and I don't know any of these people. I mean, there's a couple on here that I actually added to the list when I came across them, but I really don't know them. Most I've picked off have been Egyptologists, which is really pretty fascinating. So here's what the stub list looks like. There's tons. As I say, there's tons out there. You can get New Zealand rugby player stubs. There's everything out there. So what I've been doing is I've been picking the last one on the list or the ones that have just one letter for no reason at all, but I guess it makes it look like I've got something accomplished on it. So I guess this is my next topic here is Stephen Urice. That's another thing I've been coming across. I can't pronounce the names of the people that I am writing Wikipedia articles. So now this is a fairly short page. There is something on here. It's got the stubs on here, showing this is how it gets on the stub list. These little areas here. American law related biographical stub. And then it's also an American archaeologist. I don't know what it has to do with law. Apparently he's 75, born in 1950. He's a law professor. Let's look at the added history. So somebody added a short description in 2025, August. And then somebody added a little bit of information to the info box and some cleanup back in May. So it looks like somebody has tried a little bit. This Gabriel Sky 1972 added an info box. So yeah, like I said, it looks like somebody's trying. Here's what it looked like before this Gabriel got a hold of it. So it's a little improvement, but they didn't take the tag off for it being a stub. Here's the edit screen. Okay, multiple issues. So what I'm going to do is, as you guys know, is I'm going to copy this to here and leave everything. Everything's going to stay here, obviously. I'll wipe this when I'm done with the article. Yeah, so let's see what I can find. I mean, I might be only able to add a few more things to it, but this has exactly 0 citations. Everything seems to be linked off the official website. So whoever was working on this didn't know how to make citations or didn't know what they're doing, because that's not how you write a Wikipedia article at all. This might be enough but no, it's not enough, obviously. But I mean, there's content here that might all be wonderful content, but because it's not linked to anything, and it just makes him like a 2D person, it doesn't really say much. He's a professor of law at the University of Miami School and in Coral Gables, Florida, and that's about it. Might be written by a student. Okay, it looks like on the talk page, nothing going on over here. I will start a discussion. I will add a topic here, and I'm going to tell people that I'm going to be rewriting this Wikipedia article. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my sandbox. Dear Abby, read Luann, this stuff. All right. My obsession is cartoons and advice columns. Oh, it's so funny. Okay. I want to find my sandbox. Where are you, dear sandbox of Susan? Here you are. Okay. So since I copied everything onto my clipboard, I'm going to go over here to my sandbox. I always keep just one sandbox. I hit edit, and then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to hit paste. And there's no no categories or anything I have to redact or anything like that. And I use this style, crinkle, crinkle, R, bar, word, uncrinkle, uncrinkle style. So I don't know what that is called. Riffless. I don't know. I call it crinkle, crinkle, R, bar, word, uncrinkle, uncrinkle style. So I leave all this stuff here on my sandbox, and then I just start rewriting. Okay. So where to start? Well, this person is alive. Oh, and I'm going to save this. Into my sandbox, so I have something to look at here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto the talk page of the existing Wikipedia article and leave a note saying, "Hey, I'm here to write this Wikipedia article, and just FYI, I'm happy to work with you on it or whatever needs to be done. If you have anything that you're going to be wanting to add to the article, please leave it on the talk page so I can be sure to add it in whenever I rewrite the article. And then I'll usually give a time frame, like I'm going to try to get this done within 2 days or something like that. That way people don't come across it like 6 months later and think I'm still working on it. And no, I'm going to just do it. So what I have to do is obviously do a Google search for this man, Stephen, Stephenk, Urice. I'm going to do a Google search for him and see what I can find. Now, because he might have been active a long time ago, the references I need are probably older. So I might need to go into some other places. Then, older than like a current search. If it's a brand new person, a person who's just famous in the last few years, notable in the last few years, then almost everything is going to come up in a Google search. But when you're talking about somebody who was notable decades ago, whenever the internet wasn't the place it is now, then you might have to dig a little farther. And I love using newspapers.com. So I'm going to be doing newspapers.com and see if I can pull more out about his personality. I might use Ancestry. I'm going to be really lean on the Ancestry because he is a living person. So I don't want to have too much information about a person who's living. And what else? But I'd like to know a little bit about his personal life. How he says, where he went to school, what his hobbies are. Nothing gossipy or personal. Does he have children? I don't need to name the children. Is he in a, where is he living, with some kind of being general about it. So I'm not planning on doing anything like a deep dive into outing this guy, but something that's general, where did he grow up? What was his influences? Why did he go into what he went into? He wrote a book, so I will look that up. Again, I don't need to read the book. I don't need to know really. I'm only, when you're writing a Wikipedia article, you're pulling from the people who have found that person, who've written about that person or whatever. I might look on YouTube, see if there's any lectures. Usually, if you listen to a lecture or an interview with a person, most of it, we're not going to be able to use the content, but at the very beginning, there may be a biographical little thing like, oh, I grew up in New Jersey, or I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania, or, my parents were both school teachers. And, I always grew up to want to be a school teacher. And then I was accepted. I went to a small school myself, and then, that kind of thing. That's what I'm looking for. But I have no idea what I'll find. Anyway, this video will end now, and then it'll pick up with the next part of whatever I'm doing on this. So you guys don't have to sit there and watch me do every little keystroke, because I can't imagine. I mean, I'd rather watch paint dry, I think. Okay. It'll be just a second for you guys, and it'll be hours for me. Hey, so it's only been a second for you guys, but it's been a few hours for me. So here's the middle of where I'm at. I'm getting really close to finishing this, and yeah, it's been a lot of hours, but I've been like I went off to dinner and I've been talking to other people and stuff. So let me show you where I'm at, and you can see how this is coming together. So obviously, it's always more interesting than you think, and I fall into rabbit holes all the time because interesting things are happening. So let me show you with my sandbox where I'm at. All right, move that out of the way. So mostly I've left the content, this part right here and the career, I've left it as it was. So what I was able to do is I went into ancestry.com and I found several things that allowed me to be able to make a section about his early life. I'd like to prove that he went to Delaware High School, but I don't think I can prove that. But I added that he was born in New York because we didn't know where he was born. I could put the year down here too. I found his parents' name and his mom graduated from Vassar College. I had occupations for his parents, but they were salesperson and elementary school teacher, but that was way back in the day. So I have no idea if that's what their main career ended up being. And I did see that he had a sibling named John. I don't know if the last name of John is the same as Stevens or not, because as you can see, his father's name is Leonard Krauss and his mother's name is Babette Bloch, who eventually became Urice. So I didn't know if John's last name was Urice or something else, Krauss, or I don't really know. And it's not important. So that's what I did is I left it like that. I just wanted something to put in that little spot to make an early life and education area. I tried not to get into too many specifics, and there was a lot of information. I just don't want to put it in there, but I kept it generic. So we've got like his father was born in San Francisco and his mom's from New York. And I liked adding the college for his mom. All right, so I left the career all the same. I've got one citation right here, but the citation number 3, I think, is going to apply to almost this whole article. I just have to read through it and make sure, and I could go back and cite this better, but I haven't really touched the career. I've added a book section. So we've got 3 books. One of them is he's a contributor. So I didn't want to list all 21 contributors other than him. So I just put his name and then 21 others. So that's how I wrote that out. I don't know if that's exactly right, but it's close. I found that John Henry Merriman has a Wikipedia article. I didn't look to see if Lawrence Rothfield does. I got to check that out. This is the book that was mentioned earlier in the career. That is his doctoral dissertation. So I found 3 books and I found some articles, but they weren't really like scholar articles or anything like that. Cause I didn't make I had a section here that said noted or not noted, but other publications or something like that. And I've left them out. I think I'm gonna leave them out. I did add a personal life. I find this section very interesting. They say that one of the most popular one of the most read parts of an Wikipedia article are the lead and the personal life. So I want to put something. And I found that Stephen was in a 33-year relationship with a guy named Mark Beers. And he himself sounds very interesting. I don't think there's enough that I found. I might be able to find enough to write a Wikipedia page for Mark Beers, but I'm not focused on that at the moment because I'm trying to work on getting through these archaeologists Wikipedia articles. So it showed that he had a civil union in Vermont with Beers, and then he went and married him in 2008 in Montreal. And I did put this in here. Beers was a former president of the American Geriatric Society, whose research into the side effects of prescription drugs for the elderly became a useful list called the Beers Criteria, which was published. That's probably too long of a sentence, but oh well. And he died in 2009 in Miami Beach, Florida, because I found Beers is yeah, actually he probably could have a Wikipedia article, but I don't want to get too distracted. He had a New York Times obituary, and I found it because it had Stephen mentioned in it. So, and then I made a copy of it down here. I put a archive link as a gift article because I have a subscription to the New York Times, so people can look at that and they can click on it if they want to. But really interesting. So before there was no citations, and now I have 5 citations. I think this website right here, this link is a bad website. I think it's got a 404 at the other end of it. So that's got to be cleaned up. So where am I at now? What do I got to do next? All right. So I have a few articles that were written by Stephen and some articles that quote him and talk about some of the stuff he's done and so on. So I think I'm going to go through those. I found everything. Everything's out. I'm just going to go and cite them and then go through boom, 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 and try to put them in there. Really, I got to find a way of making it so that it's more understandable what this guy does. Because like my son was over here and I was trying to explain to him and I couldn't find a good 2 or 3 sentences. I didn't feel really comfortable about saying who this Stephen person is. One thing I ran into is I found that a mention on Instagram that Stephen had received an award at the University of Miami. It's one of the most prestigious awards that they offer for their faculty or alumni. And it's quite an honor, but I can find no citation for it other than an Instagram post. And I can't use an Instagram post for a citation. And in fact, the honor has its own Wikipedia page, but the Wikipedia page is not updated to include his name. And then I found on the website, it doesn't say that he won the honor. It says that he has been picked for a trapping. And I have no idea what a trapping is. And so the whole thing just doesn't sound like something I can cite clearly. So I responded to the Instagram post and I said, hey, I'm working on a Wikipedia article for this guy, and I really need a citation for this. I can't use an Instagram post and the website doesn't seem to be updated. Can somebody help me out, please? So, what are you going to do? There are no photographs available for Stephen on Flickr, which a lot of the times you can take if the licensing on Flickr is a common, I can't think of the phrase at the moment. If the licensing is just so, I can use a Flickr photograph, but nothing on Flickr. I put up on the talk page for his current Wikipedia article that it needs a photograph. There's a little tag you can put on that kind of alerts people. That'll probably never, ever get seen. Then as I was searching through faculty at the University of Miami, I ran across a name of somebody I know. Joseph is a Wikipedia person. We wrote a Wikipedia page for a long time ago. He's a fellow of CFI. Joseph, oh my God, I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm not going to say his last name. It starts with a U. Urice. I can't. I don't have the page open right now, so I can't read it all of a sudden, and I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, so I wrote to him. I sent him a message on Facebook. I said, hey, any chance you know this guy? He's at the same university. I mean, like there's 12 people there, right? Said, if you know this man, please, I want to get in touch with him because I want a photograph. He says, no, I have no idea who he is. And I said, well, if you ever run into him, take a picture of him and we can get it uploaded. And he's probably like, oh, you are so strange, Susan Gerbic. Like, I'm just going to happen to run across this guy. I don't know. Maybe you will. They're in totally different wings. This guy's in the law department. that deals with law. Stranger things have happened, so maybe he'll be at a party or alumni association or something, or standing in line, and he'll go, "Hey, aren't you Stephen Urice? 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 I can't pronounce anything. Just don't even bother." He'll say, "I have a friend that's working on your Wikipedia page and I need to take a picture of you right now." Pull out your phone and take a picture. Anyway, like I said, I can't use a photograph that's just off the internet. It has to be uploaded by the owner of the photograph, and it has to be copied because of copyright. So I found a couple articles in a newspapers.com, only a couple, has to do with him being consulted on a trial. I guess there was a trial for antiquities. So what this guy is, he's an expert on the law for antiquities. Antiquities. There you go. So that was a little rabbit hole I went into, because he was talking about different antiquities that, should be returned back to the country of origin or not, and the reasons why not. So I think I'll put a little paragraph on that. So I've got about 4 or 5 more citations that I think I can use that will have something to do with that. And I've got like 2 articles that I should go through. Oh, check this out. He is absolutely, one of his favorite pieces of art is this, and I'll show you this so you can go down the rabbit hole with me. He's really, I guess this was, I read an article, he talked about this. I think this was a piece of art at a museum. Ooh, sorry. That he used to go to often. I don't know if it's the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Anyway, he saw this and he just loves this. He's absolutely drawn to this. And I am never, no way, going to pronounce that. So it's a vessel that they use to mix water and wine together. And it's quite beautiful, as you can see. So this is one of his favorite pieces of art. So I might be able to include a picture of this and put it on his Wikipedia page, just because I don't got nothing else to put. So this led me down a little rabbit hole as I looked at these and read this Wikipedia article. Then I wanted to understand how they got the black on there and how these things were made. So then I read an article, a Wikipedia article, about how they put this black on here, and they even have it where they can put white and gold on there, and then they paint it on, and then they put it in a special kiln. So you tend to go down these little rabbit holes, so you have to be careful. At least I do, because you will find yourself who knows where. Should I unshare this thing? It's gracious. Let me share this, because I don't think I even had it shared, in case you didn't see it. Oops. Oh, there it is. So I am sharing. Okay, I've got too many screens. I don't know if you could have too many screens, but anyway. All right, so let me get this thing finished. It's only 9 o'clock my time here in California, so maybe I can get the Wikipedia article all done and make it live tonight. That would be nice. So it's not so time consuming to rewrite these things. If you do it often enough, you kind of have the code in your head that you use. And if you don't practice it, you're going to find yourself struggling. I do take code from Wikipedia pages I've written previously and just copy paste and make it, change the verbiage that needs to be on there. And I like doing the style of humans that are humans in the field of archaeology, or actually any kind of human, because I try to stay with the standard of early life and education. Then I go to career, and then if there's anything that stands out specifically to that person, And then I do publications, books and publications, and then I do early personal life, and then pretty much done. So if you follow that formula, and of course you have to go into other areas sometimes where you can find nothing. And that's where you are. So, all right. In a blink of an eye, I'll I will be back without the hiccups that I'm all of a sudden experiencing. All right. Third time's the charm. So we are ready to make this live. And actually, I didn't do a lot more work on this than after the last update I made on this video. And that's because I was able to read through everything 2 or 3 times again. And he's mentioned in the New York Times, he's mentioned in lots and lots of places, but there are small quotes about his area of expertise, which is cultural property law, and he's giving generalized opinions about things like this place should probably return this because of this reason, or this is probably they did due diligence and probably they shouldn't have to return it. I was having a hard time figuring out how I could use these bits and pieces in a Wikipedia article about the person. I'm sure somebody cleverer than I would be able to figure it out, but I just was struggling trying to do it. So one of the things I did is that I linked one of the articles I thought was one of his better written articles. It was a guest post for a website called News of Bahrain, Bahrain, Bahrain. And it was a pretty good article that he had written that kind of sums up everything he does in his career, kind of. And so I just used it as an external link. I thought it would be easier for him to explain his job and what his views are in a complete article instead of for me quoting from it. So I kind of did that. Let me show you a couple other things that I did. I guess I could publish this. Well, let's see. I'm getting really close to publishing it and putting it out to the social media and let people deal with the corrections of grammar and stuff. Okay, so this is still a preview. I haven't saved this again. I really didn't do much in the lead. I'd like to do more in the lead, but I don't know. I just wasn't having it. It wasn't coming to me. Somebody else could expand this lead by a couple more sentences. I've added a little bit more to the info box, and I was able to expand even more with his early life and education. I found a quote where he had said he attended a small Quaker high school. So then I went into ancestry.com and I found out that he went to Wilmington Friends High School, and that has a Wikipedia page, and it is a Quaker school. I put down Wilmington, Delaware, and I found that his brother became a professor of theater history. And I found, Tatnall School. This is where he went to elementary school. I found in Ancestry year after year after year, from like second grade, third grade, fourth grade, pictures of him sitting in the little, in this class picture. And so I used one of them to say that he went to this elementary school. And the reason why I put that in here is because I want to add it to the Wikipedia page for the elementary school and the high school that he was one of the alumni. I love doing that. That makes me so happy. So I'm going to do that right in front of you. He has a degree in master's and theological studies, Old Testament. That was very interesting. I expanded the career a little bit more, though it was pretty much well written. Whoever had written this article before had really expanded on his career. And so I just went through and made sure that what was in the article was cited by this one article. It looks like they pulled a lot of the information from. So I just put the same, it's number 4, I think. And I just put it over and over. And I put a quote for him. I love using quotes. It's not the most witty quote I've ever seen, but I thought it worked out well. I added another book. I found that he and his husband, Mark Beers, had co-written a book called Aging in Good Health. And it was very interesting reading about that. So I got that in there. I added, I think this is new since I talked to you, I last updated it. This is, he wrote in one of the articles about his favorite piece of art. Oh no, I think I did mention this before. So I put a little thing in there under personal life just to make it a little more personal. Again, the personal life is an important part of a Wikipedia article because we are writing about the person. So a person is not just their career and where they got their education and where they were born. It should tell a little bit about them, but I don't want it to be gossip. I want it to be shows a little bit about their personality, their hobbies, and so on. And I think I love writing about the personal life. But again, you got to pull on it in such a way you don't want to get into any kind of scandals or, I mean, if the scandal is out there and it is public, well, then it's a scandal. It's going to be reported on in Wikipedia. But I thought this would be a nice little thing of showing what piece of art that he really, really loved. Okay, then I'm at nine references. I mean, seriously, I could have gotten a lot more than that, but I would be pulling just little tiny bits, like a sentence here or a sentence there out of it. It could be bigger, but I think this is so much better than it was. Well, it is. Here it is, why the U.S. should not be assisting Italy in forfeiting a rare bronze. So that was from, oops, look at that. See the mistake? I didn't put a comma. Da, 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 right here. I put an M. And another article I pulled up, this is supposed to be that kind of thing. So I get italics. I mean, these are the kinds of things I just don't see, and somebody else will come in here and find them right away. I could stare at this for weeks and I won't notice some of this stuff. In one article I found, it said, here is how to pronounce his name. Pronounced Urice. And that's the only thing I got in this whole article. I mean, it was kind of like I said, it was one of those articles that had a little bit of this and a little bit of that, his opinion of things, but I just didn't feel it. Maybe I could come back to this another day. I probably won't, but maybe somebody else can pull from there. At least we have a much better start. And I've never seen anybody put the pronunciation in here like this. I've seen them where they put the the grammatical way of saying it with a little umlauts and lines and stuff like that. That doesn't help me at all. So I figured this is so much easier to say, just to put it that way. Nobody who reads this Wikipedia page will forget how to say, Stephen, Urice. It'll be so helpful for the rest of his life. People will say, I know how to say his name now. Urice. Okay. With an emphasis on the beginning. So before I make this live, what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal from here to go and put this information on the Wikipedia page for the school, elementary school, notable alumni. Now remember, everything's supposed to be cited. So see, this has no citations whatsoever. And it's supposed to have citations. So we need to add it for this one, but really it should all be done. There's a lot of bad editing done in Wikipedia that nobody has even touched. It's sad, but nobody cares. They just don't care, and it was done a long time ago, and we didn't have the tools to catch these things as quickly as we do now. So I have a citation up here that says he went to this school. Tatnall. Okay, so I can come down here and find Tatnall. So I should be able to copy this, and I should be able to go back to Tatnall and UVW. So he should be right here. Quote, quote. Urice. And let me put that down there. Reference name. He is a oh, and I've misspelled the word archaeologist. Boy, I'm really moving well today. Mm-mm-mm. Looks right to me, but I know it's wrong. A-R-E, isn't it? A-R, no, that's not right. Well, maybe it'll spell check it for me. A-R-C-H-E-O-L. Okay, that's how you do it. So I'm going to take this, put it here, and then I put cultural property law. Sometimes I put the year. I'm going to do, I'll start a new trend here. He was born in 1950. And then I have the citation here. So let's make sure I did this right. Nope, I did it wrong. Urice. Oh, because this Wikipedia page doesn't have the K in it, I think. This is a stub. Somebody can come and start rewriting all these elementary school Wikipedia pages like I'm doing the archaeologists, American archaeologists, Americans. There we are. Law professor, cultural property law, 1950. Okay, so I'm going to copy this before I make this live. The reason why is because I'm going to go to Wilmington Friends School and do the same darn thing, but use a different citation because it's a different, I need to use a different citation. So find alumni. See, this one's done a little differently. It's got at least, it's got some dates in here. PQRSTUVWUV. Okay, so right be here. Now I need a different citation for him. For this school, this is the Wilmington Friends School. So I need to find the yearbook. I think I needed two. I was thinking I needed two. Yearbook and this Westland. Ooh. So I'm going to take both of these, use them as evidence here. Let's bump them up next to each other. That's probably 7 and 8. Okay, very good. So let's make this live. Publish. Okay, so get rid of that. And elementary school, we can make this live. Oh, I already did, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Okay, so the other thing I was thinking of checking to see if he has Wikipedia, if there's a Wikipedia page for Urice. Stephen obviously is too common. So let's go to look. All right, Urich surname and a Uric. Nope. So there is no Wikipedia article for the last name Urice. So I can't add it to there, and I'm obviously not going to add it to Stephen. Okay, this is a finished page. I'm going to finish this and I'm going to turn around and just take a quick glance at it again, and then I'm going to make it live. You can watch me do that. Okay, so this is my sandbox. So I'm going to hit edit. I'm going to go from here, I think, all the way down. Copy. And then I'm going to go to his real Wikipedia article. Okay, which is this big. See, I'm going to leave all the categories in here, except I'm going to take out the stubs because it's no longer a stub. Now I'm going to go here to edit. This can all go. Short description stays. So I'm going to put born 1950. Okay, so I'm going to take all this info box down to here, remove, paste. I like to leave this in because this is telling people, please use the style that I'm using. Our crunch, I don't even know what it's called. Crinkly crinkle, crinkle crinkle, our bar name, uncrinkle style. Okay, so these all stay. These are Wikipedia stuff. But I can take out these stubs, law. So it's going to come off of a stub list somewhere associated with law. I don't think I'm going to add anything on here. That's something other people could do if they want. Okay, so let's look at preview. Make sure we did this right. Okay, so this is warnings that if you're writing a Wikipedia page about a human being, a living human being, you've got all these, warnings. Don't use tabloid journalism. Use high quality sources. And it has to be sourced. These are rules that we had in the past, but they were never enforced. Okay. This looks fine. Okay, so let's go to page rewritten, see talk page. I've done this enough that it's just coming right up. Let's go to the talk page. And let's edit this. And we can remove stub. It's no longer a stub. I added this photo requested. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, then I'm going to put a comment. And make this live. One of the things I did is he won in 2021. What was it? What was it called? We talked about it before. It's called a. Let me see if I can find it here. An award. I'll just say an award. The university. 4 tildes, 1, 2, 3, 4 signs it. So, okay, so I make these on talk. I tell my team I want them to do that because I want people to understand that somebody is working on the article in case just for a fluke, somebody decides they're going to work on the article. And while I'm working with it, and also, I want to make sure that they understand I am done working with it. So any changes they want to make, they don't have to leave here on this talk page. They can go ahead and make them to the article. This is a place where you'll also are saying, here's what I was confused about, or I wish I could have found, or somebody could have helped me with this or that. You're putting your wish list here. You're just being open. And it's also a way of saying, I am backing off from this article. I don't plan on doing much to it. So it's fine. I'm going to put it on my watch list, at least for a little bit to see. Okay, so here's what it's done. It's all done. So yeah, I could have expanded a little bit further, but it was really getting into the weeds. And as I said, I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'd have to think about it, wrap my mind around how I'm going to do that. But I found mentions in different newspapers. But as I said, they were all like he's talking about it, how to, just best practices and stuff. I just didn't find in my mind how I wanted to do that, how I wanted to include it in an article to make it make sense. So now here I'm going to go to my sandbox. I like to keep my sandbox clean. Some people will say, oh no, I need a separate article, sandbox for each article I'm working on. It's like, no, you don't. Because your history, your sandbox history, view history, this has all the times I've used. So if I wanted to go far enough back, I'll find the Wikipedia page I was working on before. And I do that often. I mean, this is just my edits. So you don't need to see every time it's wipe clean. If I go to one behind that, that will tell me the article I was working on before. So you don't need to keep a sandbox for everything. And I like working on sandboxes. I like to work on a Wikipedia page one at a time. I don't want to be working on a Wikipedia page and then working on another Wikipedia page and then working on another Wikipedia page all at the same time. I'm not that type of person. I mean, sometimes I make small edits here and small edits there, and then I'm working on multiple pages at once. But I really want to keep it to finishing a page in a couple days, no more than 3 or 4 days, and just barreling through and just doing it. So this rewrite took me, if I took out all the not doom scrolling, but getting distracted scrolling, reading about antiquities and stuff like that, if I took that all out, maybe 4 hours, something like maybe 5 hours. It's hard to say. I mean, I read a lot of these articles over and over, and then trying to really make them fit. A lot of people, you'll read the article and you'll say, I see where I'm going to put that. That makes sense. I can get that in there right away. And you can probably save a lot of time by doing that. In this case, I reread everything a couple times, and then I woke up this morning and I said, I'm going to reread the articles again and see if it clarifies where I should put this. And I did that and just wasn't finding it. Now he was I guess the director of a Rosenberg museum in Philadelphia when he was in his 30s, I believe. And I didn't know that when I was doing newspaper searches. I kept coming up with this guy who was same name in Philadelphia. And I thought, no, it's not the right guy. It's not the right guy. So I didn't really look at those articles. And then as I'm working on the article, I say, oh, he was the director for like 3 years at this museum. I said, oh, I should put more in there. So I went back and looked at newspapers.com, and that's where I came up with how to pronounce his name. And he was mostly talking about the museum and not so much about him. And I'd already had a reference that he was a director of this museum from this year to that year. And I thought, well, this is expanding the museum. So, this would be good for the museum's Wikipedia article. I thought, I don't want to write the Wikipedia page for the museum's article, even though there is already a Wikipedia page for the article. But I said to myself, come on, Susan, moveon.org. You've got to get through this. And that's the problem with people who are writing Wikipedia pages, is that there's just so much to do that you kind of have to be disciplined and stay focused. Otherwise, you just there's never a perfect ending to a Wikipedia article. It is written, it's not a print document. So we could go on and on forever on these things, but it's more than good enough now. And I can be proud that it's fine. It's done. I'm going to share this on social media in a lot of different places so that people can come in and go, oh, that's cool. Maybe someone will read it, but what is more likely is people will come in and they'll start proofreading it and finding where I've made some grammar mistakes and fussing with my words, because it's just me and you, I guess. All three of you watching. Hi, three of you. And so that's how I'm putting it together is you got to put a fork in it and be done. So I don't think I'll do anything else, another rewrite this week. I'm going to try to do once a week. Ooh. And I think this brings it up to 80. Yeah, I think this is my 80th Wikipedia article I think I've written. I really would like to have some nice photos of him. He's very photogenic, but I can't use him. What am I going to do? So, all right, take care, everyone, and I'll see you on the other side.